face here, but I've been in contact with Dr. Carroll for probably 10 plus years, and I'm happy to be fairly new here on staff with Stay Lit, where I work as an administrative assistant, and I help with some of the administrative assistant affairs and have given a great deal of time to digging out the programming for the after school service that we're going to offer to inner city students. And yeah, so I'm glad to be here. There are a few of us here tonight, but we do want to allow time for a brief introduction from each of you, as I'm still getting to know people and you all are getting to know me.
Come on, Dr. Williams,
Come on.
introduce yourself.
I can't see anyone, so I'm animated, so forgive me. I'm Dr. Tanya Williams. I'm out here in the burbs, in the South Burbs, and I discovered this organization through Angela Lofton, along with LaTanya. Small world, but we end up interchanging and intersecting a few months ago. So I love their spirit and the things they're doing with our youth. My background is in education. Once educated, always. So I'm gonna educate you about something, whether you want me to or not. And I also am semi-retired from juvie court. So I own and operate my own agency in which I consult. I'm an edusultant. So I educate our business owners and not-for-profit, along with advocating for our differently able and our special needs community and teaching. So I'm just a go-giver. I go wherever God sends me and I give everything that he tells me to give. And then I evangelize. So after that, I just keep it moving. So I'm thankful to be here, and I'm hopeful to hear information and share the little bit of expertise I may have. So thank you so much.
I really like that. Thank you. Brother Joseph?
Yes, how you doing? My name is Joseph Winford. I met Dr. Carroll, I think, doing a project dealing with youth and violence a few years back. Every now and then I pop back on the scene in the midst of my schedule, try to find time to connect. I am quite busy, but nevertheless, I believe in giving back to the community. I've been working in the community with various organizations and working my background in substance abuse counseling, mental health, and I'm a trainer, coach, consultant, organization called Titus Concepts and Kingdom Impact Center Chicago, right here in the Auburn Gresham area, so on 83rd and Racine. So this is pretty much the backyard of what you're doing. And I'm just looking for ways to bridge and help you, if I can, some kind of way, help somebody else's program. You know, sometimes you get to bless somebody else's program before you get your own program. So you have to sow it before you reap. So, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just sowing as much as I can when I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Joseph. Appreciate you. I see Jawade jumped on. He's connected through audio. Brother Jawade Ward, can you hear me? We're doing introductions right now. We'd love it if you would go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jawad Ward. I am a youth worker for Stay Lit, the organization, and I'm working on a fall program for high schoolers to participate in this fall, basically an after-school program. And yeah.
Great. Well, appreciate all the introductions. We're moving on to the agenda. We have my PowerPoint presentation up. Hopefully you're able to see that, and we're going to run through the slides. But we want to open with just a brief review of some of the activities and let you know what we've been up to here at Stay Lit True Believers. We're right now in the final week of the Teen Mom Camp, which has been an incredible summer camp for teen moms. I mean, Jade and Carly have led that Teen Mom Camp with consummate skill. And they've also been able to reach out and extend hands and arms and strengthen the hope of the teenage moms, some of which have some very brutal stories, but yet they're still God's people. And so they have a right by birth to be dignified in life. And so the Teen Mom Camp has assisted with escalating, I'm sure, their confidence and their knowledge of their humanity. And I think it has just been absolutely incredible. That has been an enormous experience. And I'm not a teen mom. I'll never be a mom, but that camp makes you almost want to say, yeah, but no, they've done an incredible job with that. Also, with some of the things that's going on in the community right here at Auburn Gresham, you do know that there was a big shooting right down the street from here in the office at the funeral home, which is literally all of 2 minutes away from us. But yet True Believers remains a strong arm in the community, and we continue to do what we do by the grace of God. And so we definitely covet your prayers as the violence is it's close to home, but we'll remain here and we'll remain a beacon of light. We continue on throughout that. Also in West Inglewood, we were happy to participate in the grand opening of the new football field there at Ogden Park. We were blessed to be positioned with the aldermen and several other community representatives and commissioners and controllers of things that happen here in the West Inglewood area. And that was just we all had on face masks, so we couldn't really see all the giggling and smiling of the kids, but the energy was enormous. There was a tremendous time of sharing. It seemed to have sparked some new hope and a foundation of community that seemingly had been absent here. And we're grateful for that. And we can't wait to see those kids get in that park and just run all of that energy they have, because that's important. We believe that's important, but there's also a request for money for the building of a new field house, because the field house there at Ogden Park is in dire shape. And we're believing that we're going to be able to see that come to fruition, just like we saw this park come to fruition. We're looking forward to that with great anticipation. Also, myself and Dr. Carroll were happy to participate in a community prayer and food giveaway last week, right there on 63rd and Ashland. There were several ministers there, and there was praying. Dr. Carroll prayed and led in worship, and there was good singing. There was spoken words. There was a shared concern with the happenings in our community, and we continue to seek God, and we continue to be walking solutions to the problems that we're facing. And we're grateful that the Lord allowed us to be a part of that. And it was a wonderful time of sharing high energy, good music, and there were also food giveaway. And yes, we all wore masks, and there was hand sanitizer there. When we arrived, there were also actually a group that were offering free COVID testing. And so there is some great things happening here in Inglewood, and I really believe that the news cameras need to be here when these things are going on. So you can say that there is life coming out of Inglewood and the Auburn Gresham area. I want to pause for a minute because Dr. Carol Cullum has a few bulletins that we'd like for her to share. Okay. And I believe she's going to share those slides via the screen. Dr. Carol, in your hands.
Yes. Are you sharing the leadership flyer first? Which one? Which one would you like first?
Why don't we talk about the open house first?
All right. So we'll pull up the open house flyer. Are you all able to see that?
Yes.
Yes. And it's cute.
Oh, thank you. Look. Elder Bill, did you want me to talk about that or? Oh, I didn't know if you want, okay. I sure, look, no problem at all. So we are planning for a virtual open house, as you can see. We wanted to let the community know the specific programming that we're looking to roll out this coming fall. So we've earmarked August 17th, which is a Thursday. We're thinking to do that mid-afternoon, only because we realize people are still kind of remote. And even if people are working, or if we have young adults who are interested, perhaps that 12 o'clock hour might work a little bit better. Because as you all know, even this 6 o'clock hour is a challenging time given everybody's trying to do virtual meetings right now. So we're still kind of exploring with a time, but we're thinking 12 noon for Thursday, August 17th. But that's when we plan to highlight the after school programming that Ladarius and Jawad is actually working on. And of course, they're gonna, reach out to some community resource partners who are interested in helping us roll that out. And Ladarius, I wanna remind you, remember when we had Community Day, when we did the Gospel Zumba? That was Joseph that actually did the session with the men.
Okay.
Oh
So
yeah.
we have met before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could do something around fitness for the young men, because our after school programming will be tailored, some sessions for the guys and some sessions for the girls. And so we know the young men like to be buff and, build up their little muscles and, all of this or whatever. So it may even be something to consider for the leadership session that we're having, because they're focusing on manhood and fatherhood. So, it might be, another opportunity to come in and do some fitness online though, because remember everything's virtual right now. So we're trying to stretch our thinking and keeping the young people engaged with, of course, adhering to the social distancing. So, yeah, we'll have this virtual open house, and we're going to specifically talk about that after school programming. And then, of course, Dr. Williams, doing legal work, right? It may be something to help the young girls in terms of, I don't know, some do's and don'ts, some things about, to keep in the forefront with, I don't know.
Pre-planning.
You get what I'm saying? It could be an opportunity to come in and coach them, like you say, pre-legal advice on some things that we know they're going to face as young women, young ladies.
Exactly.
Okay,
I love that you mentioned a young man too, Dr. Carol.
Yeah.
Because everybody forgets about the young men, and I work with a lot of parenting dads, and there are very limited programs for those dads that are parenting in our young people. So I do like that component. I also help with training with our SIP care, because many of my young people are generally those caretakers for their SIPs. So you'd be surprised how young they are, and they're caring for their siblings. Even at 6 and 7 years old, they're caring for toddlers. So that's very important, and we want to include them. Thank you.
Yes. No, thank you for mentioning that. And this is why we have these platforms and because we may not consider or think of every angle, right? And so again, we realize we don't have all the answers. And so we have these community conversations just so we can, are we really addressing the problem? Are we really identifying the most immediate need and really rolling out the best solution to those problems? So just as, and see, you shouldn't have gave me the floor, Bill, but because
I'm happy to take it back.
But given that, again, all of these heightened alert traumatic events that we're experiencing as a community, we want to make sure that our programming is zeroing in on, addressing the root cause of what's really happening. And so that's why we grabbed our young boys, right? That's why we grabbed our young boys. And then we said, well, we can't leave out the girls. And so we ended up, of course, focusing on both. And I'm gonna push pause right there, Ladarius, and I'm gonna let you jump back in.
Yeah, great. I want to underline the programming that we are digging out, and it has been a consistent, a constant back and forth. We've been wrestling between content, but we are really excited about that after school program. What we're going to do for 6 weeks, we're going to have, are you getting it? Well, I can continue talking yeah, a flyer should be coming shortly. But anyway.
There it is. You all don't see it yet?
No, the virtual open house one is still up.
Okay, so I might have to redo it because here, let me reshare.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be a after school leadership program for high school young men and young women, and 6-week course that's going to cover various topics, as you can see, the 7 C's to leadership, Your Walk, Your Way, and that's around, goal setting and vision casting. And we're going to be looking in the past at some of the great queens of Egypt, as well as some content written by one of the great bishops of our church, um, surrounding fatherhood and community corporate mentorship. Then we're going to move on to doing my part, which really the content for that is around social justice and restorative justice. Taking care of me
Love it.
deals, yes. So
Love
taking
it.
care of me deals with behavioral, mental, and emotional health. And then stacking my dollars is surrounding financial literacy, and college bound career readiness is that's getting our young people ready for college and for the work, for college and for the workforce. And I'm sorry you all saw me tweak for a minute, but the copier started saying something and I didn't know what was going on. It kind of threw me off for a minute, but I'm back.
All right. Amen. In Jesus' name.
Indeed.
These sessions will begin on the 15th of September, and they'll be every Tuesday and Friday for 2 hours between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Because unless God works a swift miracle, we're preparing to be virtual. And I know we lose the dynamic of personal, being personal and being able to touch and really be able to feel the body energy and convey our messages really strong. We lose all that, but hey, we're on a new frontier now. Things are becoming more digital and virtual, so we're just, in a sense, we're keeping up with the times. But keep praying for that miracle, because I believe God can wipe it out.
I believe him. I believe him. Want to do it?
That's
Yes,
right.
he did.
Yes, He will. Amen. Good. So yes, so we're excited about that as well.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you all already have leaders and volunteers in place for the entire program, or how's that curriculum set up?
Not quite yet. We don't have it in totality, but as I said, we're still wrestling.
Believe in God.
Well, we have some. We do have some confirmed, but we're still in an ongoing way, building this thing.
Awesome. I think I could assist with that if you all allow me to help and to bring hope.
Of course.
Yes, always open for that. Indeed. Okay. Now, wait, you want to go back to the slide now? Because y'all know.
Yes.
All right.
So if we can begin to get into the new business that we want to discuss, and I'm excited about the energy we already feel transferred here on the call. But some considerations we want to put before you for discussion for the next few fleeting minutes. We're dealing with a problem right now, and violence is one of them. It's the specific one I'm referring to. It is a problem, but I believe that that solutions are made for problems, and there's nothing that collective vision and collaboration cannot. This problem is not too large that collective vision and collaboration cannot confront it. And so we wonder, what are some solutions that you all can think of to the violence here that we are faced with? And and so I'm posing a question now for feedback.
I'll go first. I think the problem. Trying to unmute. I think it's the solution for the problem is probably kind of comprehensive in the sense that you have to attack it from many different directions. From a parental level, from a youth level, community level, employment level. I think we actually need to be able to find out how we can address it from each one of those different areas, because I think it adds to all of those issues add to the violence. When we look at some of the culture that has been developed in our communities, it has a lot to do with some of the gang culture, the drug culture, and things like that. How do we break that up? But also a piece of that is that we lack a lot of the spiritual influence that we once had. For some reason, in talking to millennials, they don't believe in God the way they used to. And they don't even believe in a lot of things that we believed in when we was their age. And there has been a falling away, in a sense, among a segment, not all, just a segment of the community, the young community, when it comes to spirituality. So I think, so in terms of a solution, I think one of the things is employment, job readiness. I think the other part is that is a big issue for me is understanding family dynamics. I think that there's a lot of programs out there, but one of the things that we're missing is relationship development, family development. We're dealing with a lot of broken homes, dealing with substance abuse, violence, mental health, trauma that has not been addressed. And there's a foundational pieces that we need in those households is not being addressed in those households. And so if I would look at, that's another component, is that I would love to see a family workshop, because our families are falling apart. We cannot actually see strong churches without seeing strong families. And you need strong families for strong churches, and strong churches for strong communities. And if we don't really start at that base level of how you build relationships, how do you learn to connect, how do you get your needs met? Because some of the trauma we're seeing is because unmet needs. We look at trauma often as the violence or abuse, but trauma is also neglect on the other side of that coin, is a lack of getting your needs met that traumatize people, and they find themselves disconnected and abandoned. And so they find it very easy to commit a crime because there is no attachment to anybody, especially starting with their own family and their own household. So there are some attachment issues when you relate that to that in terms of abandonment. So I think there's a lot of things that's going on, but where do we start is trying to find a way to cut into this pie. I think one of the things is starting with relationship development, employment, even a Friday night, what I call Friday night family night. If we had some place where youth can just go to escape the streets, I believe that would be at least a safe haven for a period of time. And when I grew up, that was one of the things we always had. We had a Friday night family night. We played volleyball, table tennis, and the family had some place to go. I think even our families is not getting role models or modeling in front of them to understand what it means to establish and be a family unit. They are disconnected. And with what's going on now with COVID, social injustice, unemployment, the relationship, and along with anxiety and depression, relationships are suffering at a great degree. With that, I'm gonna be quiet. I don't want to talk too much.
It sounds like you answered both question 1 and 2.
Okay.
Because I heard it, which is good. That's rich, very rich.
Okay.
Because we do need to combat the violence, and a lot of it is stemming from what is being seen at home and in the community. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. I think Dr.
Williams.
Williams.
Yes, I'm here.
No, you had took yourself off mute, so I thought you were trying to speak.
No, but I can.
We want you to, yes.
All right, awesome. I think the leader just spoke and said, wow, a mouthful. I always almost feel like he just needed a mic to just drop it, like mic drop on that. I work in our arena with our youth and underserved, especially working juvie court, juvenile delinquents, and restorative justice. Couple that with some other alphabets, DCFS and all the other ones that go with it, along with our school systems, and just trying to help and hope our unions, our labor unions and teachers and city, county, state in particular. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of layers. And how do we peel those layers? How do we unfold so many different components of what has happened and what is happening, and then multiply that times 10, and then still move forward, because life still moves on. We haven't pushed the button to make everything pause. So I thank you for highlighting all of the things that we do deal with. Unfortunately, many of my young people are not traditional. They don't have traditional homes. They're not in traditional family dynamics. They don't have anyone to bring to family night. When they say shelter at home, they're home free. So where are they sheltering? Mm-hmm. So that's when many of them seek to the streets, look to the streets, and then, of course, as you mentioned, get devoured. by those powers that be, if you will, in the streets. And then we have to meet them where they're at. That's a very difficult thing to do, especially when you don't know where you at. You can't meet other people where they are. But it is a ministry, and it takes a true heart and a true passion to be able to do that. I thank you for mentioning also that neglect is a form of trying to, one of those things on the ACEs spectrum, if you will. ACEs is a whole another conversation, but in my Oprah voice, that is a topic for another show. So, but I'd like for us to discuss some of those things. And many people ask, how did we get here? And where is here? And then how do we move forward? So that is certainly a real conversation, with real talk for us to have if we're, addressing and assisting our communities and meeting people where they are. One of the questions I usually ask some of my constituents, colleagues, and even family members is, how do you find the people that you're trying to help, and how do they find you? There's usually a disconnect, because you're looking for people in places that they're not, even though you're trying to help them, or the places that they are. We don't want to go to those places because we don't like those places. We've been there, we delivered from there. We don't want to go there. We're not going in the alley. I don't like the trenches, etc. So a lot of it sometimes takes self-inventory, and I call self-check. And that can be revealing just to us, when we check ourselves as well. I also appreciate just sharing, what do we do and how do we do it, and how do we reach out to the resources and those entities that can provide some of those things. And it's really challenging. The mental health component, the mental wellness is heightened. It's always been there. Our behavioral health, we've always had a lack in those areas. And I'm just hopeful that we can meet our youth where they are, but they're dealing with so many things, so many different components, so many facets. And how do we prioritize that? And we have to give a listen, because what we think may be important is not important in their world. And since we're in the world together, they get a voice, they get a say. And oftentimes we're talking at them, as the pastor said, and talking to them, and instead of listening, and instead of speaking with them. And I appreciate that walk that I'm learning myself, especially as a teacher, educator, lecturer, the person with all the hats. Being coachable and being learnable is, Lord knows, it's a walk. But we are triaging people. We're triaging, and we're in crisis mode, but we know God is still in control, and we must be obedient. Obedient before sacrifice, and they go hand in hand, but sometimes we don't know what time to do which one. So pray my strength.
It sounds like it really sounds like the both of you, and I appreciate your expressions, that you've answered both 1 and 2, solutions to the violence and how to heal our young people. And it really does become more plain to me that these things go hand in hand. If you want to stop the violence, increase the programming and things that snatch the attention of the young people. I often share this with Dr. Carroll, and she laughs at me because I've always been, fairly hyper and, clumsy. And so I was that kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade student who always had, like my grandmother would say, brains, but I could also be very fidgety and all over the place while the lessons were going on. And I would miss a lot of stuff. And so when it was time to do homework, it was not clear why is this smart boy, everybody knew I had some intelligence just based on the way I used to take initiative and build stuff with my blocks and toys and stuff. Why was it that I was not achieving or making the honor roll every quarter? And it was because while the lessons were going on, I was playing with my pencils or crayons or, I don't know, doing stuff. Okay. Then I got somewhere around 4th or 5th grade, and I fell in love with history and social studies. That intrigued me and snatched my attention to where then I wanted to be absolutely attentive, because I saw that there was some life and virtue that could come out of book. In 4th grade, I read my entire thick social studies book, page from cover to cover. I took time and read it all because that's what intrigued me, and that set the course for me to where I was able to end up going to college on scholarships because I could then make higher grades. And so I told that just to say that based on what I'm hearing from you all is, and what I agree with, is that we've got to figure out a way to snatch the attention of the young people, assess what's going on, and then provide the proper response. And not always a disciplinarian response, but a restorative response. And that's the sense I'm gathering from what you all said. And I don't know if Dr. Carroll have any remarks on this, but I was going to suggest if you have something, I'll wait.
I actually want to pass the baton to Jawad. We have a youth on the on the video meeting with us. Let's hear from him in terms of some solutions and how we can help, him, his peers heal, because they're the ones that are gravely impacted by what's going on, because it was originally COVID-19, but now it's violence. The violence is now making a greater noise than COVID-19, because we are in a global pandemic, right? But the focus is on the violence now. So let's hear what Jawad has to say.
Okay, so since the pandemic, more kids have been out of school, and like more kids out of school, that's more kids on the streets, So I really feel like programs will really help a lot. And like Miss
Williams, Dr. Williams,
like when Dr. Williams said earlier, like programs are not need. Like I feel like that we would draw their attention by programs not being too demanding, because some kids are like, you can't tell me what to do, this and that. You feel me? So it's like we have to somehow find a way to engage them in these things to be able to keep them off the streets, basically, because some kids don't feel love at home. They could come to a program that they like and feel love. Like the program now I'm trying to build up is based off, like, it's not based off really loving and caring, but we want to show these kids that there's more than just the streets. It's more than just what's out in the streets. Like you could be something. You can be the man that you want to be. You could be the woman that you want to be. You don't have to be what everybody stereotype you as. So I just feel like the more programs out, the more interesting programs out, the more it'll keep kids off the streets. Because it was school keeping kids off the streets. And even at school, because some kids are forced to go to school, some kids are not, So I feel like it's a choice on the youth, because everybody is not going to join the programs that's out there. You feel me? Unless they feel like they will like that interest, but we need to know the interest of the teens and what they like and some things that they need to learn. Like the program that we have about basically like building relationships with them and trying to give them the definition of what a man is and the right way to be a man. And the books that we have prepared for them, I scanned through them and I made little summaries about them. And I really find those books interesting, because the queens of Egypt on the female side, that could really open their eyes to their bloodlines and who they really are. And the other one, what was it? I think it was about fathers in the homes or something like that. Mm. The thing I took away from that was my father was not always there, but the book can teach me how to be there for my kids or how to be there for anybody that's in need and just not leave them astray, So I just feel like basically the youth need programs since school is not going to be in. They just need a place to be because I be seeing kids like ask me for change and stuff, and it'd be like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, why you not at home? I don't say that, but I just think like, why you not at home? Like some kids, their moms kick them out. They be super young. They don't have nowhere to go. Right. kids just need a safe haven. They need something to look forward to, because if the streets catch them, if the streets give them love, or whatever the streets' definition of love is, then that's what they're gonna stick with. They're gonna think that that's the right thing to do, and it's not, because they don't really know how it really feels to be taken in and cared for. So that's basically what I feel like would help it. But even though that could be a solution, it's still gonna take a while, because everybody's interested in programs. Some people want the streets. Some people want the gang violence. Some people want the violence.
Yeah.
We just have to stay strong, believe in God.
Yes.
That's real talk. Real talk.
Yeah.
Real talk, and I absolutely love it. You know, and this is again why we try to, of course, include youth at the table with us. And again, we're just elated that he's a part of the planning for the after school program. And Joseph, you hit it right on the money when you talked about building relationships and the family unit. That was something, again, that because you know we have these conversations with community collaborators, and so we made note to fold that in the curriculum for the after school program. So I'm saying that to say we're super excited that that is a piece, as well as we have this youthful voice, you know, helping design the curriculum, because you all know any programming that we do here, we design the curriculum. It is nothing scripted. You heard them say they've read 2, 3, 4 books already to design the curriculum for this after school program. So they're reading content and then pulling the tips and nuggets out so that they can now facilitate and pour into the other young people. So that's what keeps us unique as an organization. So no, we don't pull some curriculum off the shelf and try to, you know, disseminate it to the kids, because it has to be real, relevant, and raw. And if they don't feel it, you know, again, we're not going to engage them. And so, you know, we're super excited about that. And, you know, again, wanting to make sure that we're reaching them in every aspect of life. Every aspect of life. We never would have thought we would have even been servicing teen moms or young mothers. But me going to the local schools, the local high schools in the community, seeing most of those young girls walking around pregnant, I was like, no, we got to roll out a program for them. And again, the rest is history. But again, and a designed curriculum specifically for them. Definitely, you know, appreciate the insight. We are certainly pulling these nuggets. I've taken tons of notes, given what you guys have identified as solutions and how we can help our youth heal. And again, it's just great to hear that we've already folded in some of the projects and the programming in this particular after school program, but we're always looking to, again, have these conversations so we can continue to build and engage, and we're going to catch them one youth at a time.
Yes.
You know, that's the plan. Let's get them one youth at a time.
Amen.
Absolutely. I really appreciated your Wade's remarks, as well as everyone else's. You know, I heard him say one thing that really resonated, is that some people want the hood. One thing that is true about the hood, and I think it's remarkable, but it also causes me to reflect and sometimes grieve, that one thing you will find in the hood that sometimes you don't even find in the church is that in the hood, in the streets, you got to be real. You know, the streets know when you're real and when you're fake. And it's something interesting about how those who we might even refer to as thugs can discern the real preachers from the fake ones. They'll protect the real preachers and they'll rob the fake ones. I think that's interesting. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that or not, but the hood teaches you loyalty and makes you feel like you belong.
Right. Street cred.
There you go. There you go.
That's real.
If you a member of, I have had family members who have taken real time in prison just because they would not rat out their gang brother.
Yeah.
I mean, the bond there is strong. And I think that's what we're in competition with, because we need to push the agenda that hey, there's nothing wrong with you being surrounded by people. We want to push community, but we want to push positive and moral. We want to push principles and values, and let you know that hey, you can run with your group of friends, but run in the right name, do the right thing. Use your talents, creativity, and your sense of leadership, because it does take leadership to lead a gang. And if you can lead a gang, that lets me know that you can lead a Bible study group. We just need to let them know that you can still rap. You just got to change the words, change the lyrics. And so I think that's where we have to compete. That just because you're doing things the right way does not mean you have to not be yourself. You can use your gifts, talents. We welcome that. But use them to the advancement of the community and not the destruction of your community.
Amen.
So that's what I'm pulling from. Oh God, I'm getting really excited now. That's what I'm pulling from all of you all's remarks. And so, so we appreciate that. We really appreciate that. As we're winding down, I don't know if there's any closing remarks or comments that anyone has, but I feel like I'm floating on a cloud right now. I'm happy. By way of announcement, we do want you to know that the next meeting, where we hope to go ahead and get some of these ideas you all have given us on paper and begin to implement them. By the next meeting, we will be meeting on that says Saturday, but it should be Thursday. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, because I was just wondering, like, where is that saying Saturday?
I apologize. That should be Thursday, September 10th, at 6 p.m.
Yeah, and just so let me, for clarification purposes, because we do community meetings as well as area project board meetings. So I just want to, I guess for clarification, let you know that there's a distinctive difference between the two. The community committee, that's a meeting I would hold breakfast time on Saturdays here at the office before COVID hit. And we did a lot of planning and implementation meetings in terms of, like how we're saying, we're planning the after school program. We would use that type of meeting, the actual committee, to do the hands-on planning and pretty much gauging and doing a lot of conversation around what we feel would be a suitable program. Right. So the area project board is more of the guidance on, again, addressing the solutions, making sure that we're meeting the needs when we've identified what the critical traumatic issues are, the crises are in the community. So it's more of a guiding board, more of a board to where we're gaining the insight and having the rich conversations to then go and plan and implement. So although it may overlap in some sense, this is the board, the governing board, I'm really trying to get going in terms of giving us a lot of the substantive conversation that we've just had now. So again, if we're missing the mark in terms of targeting the programming, being able to engage in youth and reach the youth, this is the board I want to lean toward in giving us that insight. And again, the community committee, I'm looking for them to, all right, let's pull out the strategic planning board and let's figure out how to make it happen. So those are, two different functioning meeting groups that I'm really looking to leverage. So Joseph has come to the table on both of them, and I appreciate him for that. But this one, I really want you all to pour into the conversations exactly how you all did today. Because again, we don't have all the answers, and we all have different levels of expertise. And so this was definitely confirmation that we're at least moving in the right direction. Yes. And at some point, when we start talking when we come back together, we would have already, no, we wouldn't have rolled out our programming yet, but we would have had orientation. We'd be able to give you stats in terms of how many kids had enrolled for the programming. So we'll be able to fold in some numbers specifically to the after school program by the next time we come together.
I had one quick question, Doctor. Could I ask that right quick?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, so the community committee, is that the committee that will help with outreach and collaboration, or? Yes.
Indeed. That particular group is, again, a little bit more active in the actual rolling out the functionality of what we do. So again, this is more of a governing board in terms of giving us that guidance and direction, not as much hands-on, but yeah, that community committee, we look
They're
at
the foot soldiers
in the
of what's
trenches with
happening.
us. The community committee usually comes and helps with events and things like that. And again, that's how Joseph and I initially connected and met.
Amen.
But here's where his voice is, so strong here at this table, just as yours, Dr. Williams.
Oh, well, I'm just visiting. But I think what you're doing is amazing. And I see you all the time posting and following you as well. So the social media does work, and it doesn't reach everybody, but it reaches the right people. And God bless the mission and the people that and the resources that He'll send from that. So thank you.
No,
and arigato. I always say arigato. Arigato is thank you. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. All right. Darius, I don't know what is that.
No, that was the close. Yeah, that's the closing. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to meet you all, albeit virtually. Albeit virtually.
All right. And listen, thank you all so much. We have, again, enough content to keep it moving, and we will certainly keep you guys updated. And please, please, please continue to support from afar and near. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to our young person that really gave us some insight and intel on what's happening, what the word on the street is. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
He's awesome to have on the team. Thank you all.
All right, God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
Okay. Bye-bye.